For a close-up look at all your Concho Valley High School football, this is Inside the Game. Sponsored by Mitchell Automotive Group.
Howdy and happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to Week 9. Can you believe it? Time's flying of KSAN's Inside the Game, where we take you inside the games here in the Concho Valley. I'm your host, Griff McClellan. Now, you're probably aware by now, you figured tonight's storms have affected several of our Concho Valley games, ranging from some early starts to some delays, postponements, whatever. But regardless, we still have a lot to break down for you from Week 9. So without further ado, let's dive right in, starting with Class 4A and the Lakeview Chiefs. Thursday night, Lakeview, let's go back in time a little bit, opening district play on the road versus Pecos. This one turned out to be a marathon. First quarter, after a 2.5-hour rain delay, it's the running back Isaiah Rios with the carry. He's going to bounce it to the outside, turning on the Jets on the speed. One man to beat. He finds his way into the end zone for the score. Chiefs strike first, 7-0. Now Pecos possession next. They're turn with it. It's Omar Salgado taking the snap, and he's going to launch one deep, throw down the field to his receiver, Adrian Mendoza, for a big chunk play there to put the Eagles on the board. He walks in the end zone standing up, tied at 7. Next quarter, it's the quarterback, Chris Alviso. He's going to hit his target, Berlin White, for the go-ahead touchdown there. Lakeview back on top, in front 14-7 now. And now, skipping ahead just a few moments before the halftime mark, the Chiefs are not satisfied, so they find DJ Munoz here for the short yardage score to go up 21-7.5, building a lead. And no storm lasts forever, as they say, because for the first time in 21 seasons, the Chiefs officially clinch a winning season with their 6th of the season. 42-14, the final score past midnight. Now over to Class 3A. The second-ranked Wallhawks began to gear up for their final home game of the regular season versus a familiar Concho Valley rival, the Grape Creek Eagles. The Hawks look to remain undefeated following last week's 58-0 thrashing over Coahoma. This week, the key is stopping the run against Grape Creek, which is no easy task, going against Eagles star running back Darrell West. We caught up with head coach Craig Slaughter ahead of the game, who outlines his game plan while senior athletes prepare to compete in their final home game.
I've told the kids, you know, if Darrell was on our team, he would fit in. It wouldn't like you'd be, what's that kid doing out there? I mean, that dude's a player. You know, you better be sound. You better have a lot of guys running to the ball. And he's a very patient runner. I mean, I'm super impressed with that kid and their team. I mean, they've done a lot of good things, and Darrell's a great player.
We've all worked really hard for this game, and we all understand that this is our last game on this field that we've all played on since we were in 7th grade. So it just means that all the hard work and dedication we've had is finally going to pay off.
It'll mean the world to us. Being able to come out here for one last game and put a show out for our home crowd will be something to remember forever.
And now on the other sideline, as for Grape Creek, the Eagles look to pull off a shocker on the road and gain some traction in district standings as teams begin to make playoff pushes just a few weeks out. The Eagles bounced back nicely 1 week ago, dominating Stanton 52-14 on their home field behind another heroic Darrell West performance, who now has over 1,300 rushing yards going into this week on the season, and 18 touchdowns. Is no easy task facing the #2 team in the state, but West and his team, along with head coach Tanner Teal, are ready for the challenge.
They're obviously one of the top teams in 3A Division II, and so it's an opportunity for our kids to see how they measure up and to see, you know, maybe show people in this area that this is a different Grape Creek than past.
My confidence, I couldn't do it without my line, you know, blockers, everybody that's out there with me, you know, battling through thick and thin and everything else.
And now looking at tonight's score after about a 2-hour delay to this one. This one is now underway, and the #2 Hawks lead 14-0 at last check. Second quarter, the Hawks look to stay undefeated. Grape Creek looks to perhaps put together a comeback and pull off a shocker. San Angelo TLCA still looking for that highly anticipated, highly coveted, whatever you want to say, first win in 2 seasons at 0-2 in district and 0-7 overall, taking on undefeated Jim Ned, 7th-ranked Jim Ned, that is. This one started late as well, but no surprise here. Jim Ned is on top at halftime, 28-0. Brady hits the road in Week 9. In case you haven't followed the Bulldogs lately, they've enjoyed a nice start in district, going 2-0, outscoring opponents by a margin of 132-44. That will be put to the test against the only other unbeaten team in Brady's district, the early Longhorns, but this one will have to wait another day. Kickoff has been rescheduled due to the weather to 2 p.m. Saturday. And as for the Central Bobcats, due to the weather, tonight's game has also been rescheduled to tomorrow, same time, 2 p.m. Central looks for its first district win, looking to avoid repeating history following last season's 0-3 start. And now for more on Central's Week 9 matchup, let's check in with Brian Cunningham, who is joining us live inside the studio this time. Brian, take it away.
Good evening. I'm Brian Cunningham, and we're in a different area now. We're in studio. We're live. Obviously, the rain has really put a hold on things. Central versus Midland, obviously, as you heard by now, has been postponed to 1 p.m. tomorrow due to inclement weather. Gates open at 1 p.m., so get on down there. Bobcats, they have to wait another night to claim that first district win of the season. So here you go. Again, kickoff at 1 p.m. I'm going to keep reminding you because this is a game you don't want to miss. Central Bobcats hold the overall series record as they enter the 80th all-time meeting between these two teams. This game's picks up tomorrow afternoon. And here's a few keys to the game. Pardon me, if you're Central, you have to eliminate the early mistakes. As you see on your screen right now, that early pick six last week really hurt them, and you have to establish the running game to open up the mismatches that you're going to have on the perimeter with your two young stud wide receivers that you are going to see coming up. And if you're Midland High, you got to start fast. You got to protect the ball early on, and you have to eliminate these big plays when you're facing a hungry team that is chasing that first district win. Again, Brian Cunningham live in studio. We send it back to you guys.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Brian. Now, time to call our first 10 out of the evening, but stay put because we've got all things Class 2A, scores, highlights, and later an inside look at a Concho Valley athlete chasing history this season. All that after this break. All right, folks, welcome back to KSAN's Inside the Game Week 9. Time is promised to resume our Week 9 coverage with all things Class 2A. The 6th-ranked Ozona Lions look to destroy the winless Colorado City Wolves. Tonight, they do so. 58-18 the final there. Villarreal has another incredible performance. You've heard his name lately. We'll get to him later on the show, too. Rushing for 380 yards tonight, along with 7 touchdowns on the ground, despite the game being called early with just 9 minutes left in the third quarter. So basically just a half and some change, if you ask me. Lions stay undefeated. Wolves remain winless. Cristobal on the road looking to keep pace with rival Ozona as the only two unbeatens in this district. The 2-0 Cougars collide with the 1-1 Buffaloes. The Cougars have been tested through their first 2 games so far, winning narrowly over Colorado City and Reagan County last week. Tonight, not the result they wanted, though, falling short in a low-scoring one again, 21-7 the final from Forsan. And staying in District 3-2A Division 1, the 1-1 Sonora Broncos face an 0-2 Reagan County Owls squad, desperately trying to somehow bounce back from a turbulent start. As for Sonora, it's not much different following last week's 45-point blowout loss on its home field versus Ozona. This week, though, Sonora is bouncing back at last check ahead in control, 24-0 at halftime. El Dorado hosting Van Horn in Week 9 in this clash of Eagles. El Dorado comes in atop its District 4-2A Division 2 standings, undefeated at 2-0, while Van Horn resides in the bottom at 0-2. And tonight's game appears to be a forfeit win for El Dorado. We will check and clarify more on that later. The red-hot Mason Punchers have found their groove the last few weeks with 3 straight wins now, 2 of those in shutout fashion. This week, the Punchers get another shutout, make that 3 out of 4 now, with a 51-0 victory at Holland Thursday night, beating the Storm. Sterling City not having an ideal first year to open the Kellen Luker era, 1-6 overall and 1-1 in district play, but the mystery continues tonight for the Eagles, getting shut out on the road, 49-0 the final from Wink. The Miles Bulldogs just looking to make any sort of noise at this point, not having an ideal start at 0-2 in district and 1-6 overall in Week 9. It certainly didn't get any easier going up against the 2-0 Hamlin squad. Final score, Hamlin 28, Miles nothing. The 5th-ranked Junction Eagles looking to keep flying high this season, keep soaring. Junction showed absolutely no signs of rust in its first full district game in Week 8, shutting down Brackenville by 45 points. Tonight versus D'Hanis, same thing. The Eagles shut out the Cowboys 47-0. This one also called after just the first half. Time to call our second time out of the night, but don't go anywhere because we'll be back with all things 6-man up next. Well, folks, welcome back to KSAN's Inside the Game. Let's dive into some 6-man scores and highlights now as promised, starting with a highly anticipated matchup that we've all had circled on our calendars since day 1 of the season. Folks, get ready for a top 5 matchup. The number 2 ranked Water Valley Wildcats host the number 5 Robert Lee Steers in Week 9. It's been smooth sailing for these two teams all season coming to this point, both coming undefeated, having dominated every opponent thus far. For Water Valley, the key to victory is not being one-dimensional. Spreading the ball around, this also means utilizing talent all across the field to its advantage. And for the players, confidence also goes a long way on the field.
We can get under center, we can get in spread, we can get in shotgun, we have multiple defenses. So, that being said, it makes the other team prepare for a lot of things. And, at times I think it gives you advantage as long as you don't overdo it and you're weak in one area or the other. So I think that's important as well.
I trust them. I have the utmost confidence in my teammates to go out there and play like they do. And I know they have the same for me. So just that bond in our team
with the confidence that we have to go out there and execute and do what needs to be done.
And now continuing this preview on the other sideline, the Steers look to gain traction in their tight district race with the Wildcats and pull off a massive road win. Robert Lee came close last season, falling short at the hands of Water Valley in a high-scoring affair. If you recall that, when the final score was 62-50 this time last year, that game proved to be crucial down the stretch for the remainder of the season, being the Steers' only district loss, as the Wildcats eventually took home the district title with an unbeaten 4-0 record, just one game ahead of them. The key for Robert Lee in seeking vengeance this time around revolves all-around execution all over the field.
Our keys we got to execute well, offensively, defensively, special teams. We got to play, definitely up to our ability against a team like Water Valley.
It's pretty exciting, they were number 2 going into the year, and we were number 5. I mean, we're pretty excited. Played them last year. It was a close game, but I think we're ready for them.
Let's take a look. Let's check in with this game. Tonight's highly anticipated matchup was delayed over an hour as well to start due to some lightning and thunder and some heavy rain in the area. But so far, you can't see the score there. That's a little error on our part. But it's going Water Valley's favor at home at Diddle Young Field. Seemingly unfazed after that delay, ahead 38-16 at halftime. We'll have updates later. Now, continuing 6-man action, Erie County and Paint Rock each trying to end a 4-game losing skid. This one goes to the Hornets Thursday night. Again, they played early to beat the Storm. Final score, 60-14. The Indians lost their 5th straight game after a 3-1 start. Menard, one of just a few unbeaten Concho Valley squads entering Week 9, coming in ranked 8th in the state. They look for more of the same Week 9 versus last place Nueces Canyon, and nothing new tonight. Menard once again gets it done with ease. Final score, 63-12, a 51-point win. And staying in District 15-1A Division 1, Eden tries to bounce back after last week's 68-33 letdown at Leakey. The Dogs sure are hungry for some revenge tonight, looking to take down the Medina Bobcats. At last look, though, this one is currently suspended and scoreless. Again, we'll have updates later on, so stay tuned. And our final 6-man game on this Week 9 calendar, an all-Concho Valley matchup. Bront visits Blackwell. These teams came in undefeated in district, but tonight it's seemingly all Bront, up 75-40 in the 4th quarter, looking to close it out. Now time to call our 3rd and final timeout of the show, but don't go just yet. When Inside the Game returns, we'll track Texas State football history, we'll revisit our trivia challenge, look ahead to Week 10, all that and more up next. And welcome back to one final segment of Inside the Game tonight. Let's continue tracking some Texas high school football history. In case you're unaware by now, there was one player who was on pace to break a single season record. Let's take a look. Of course, that is none other than Ozona Lions running back Christian Villarreal, who is having a monster season, just completely overwhelming opponents every week. To break it down a little bit further for you, here are his season totals through 9 weeks. So including tonight's game against Colorado City, he has a whopping total of 2,858 rushing yards, 42 rushing touchdowns, 7 tonight, and 228 additional receiving yards in the year. Simply just out of this world. And to refresh your memory, the current Texas single-season rushing record is 4,045 yards. That belongs to Kenneth Hall of Sugarland, who set it in 1953 through 12 games, including the playoffs. This record has stood strong 72 years and remains the only 4,000-plus rushing season in state history, but that could all change if Villarreal can do the unthinkable and break a record many thought can never be broken. In order to do so, though, Villarreal has a bit of a challenge. He needs to average 395 rushing yards per game over the next 2 regular season games and potentially playoff game. And now, of course, for football season, you know the drill by now, comes our annual Concho Valley High School Football Trivia Challenge. To enter the sweepstakes, simply visit our website, ConchoValleyHomepage.com, click the contest tab above, and submit your answers each week for your chance to win the grand prize, a $100 HEB gift card. Weekly winners are announced every Sunday night at 10 on KSAN. Each of whom will receive an automatic bid for the final drawing. The grand prize winner will be announced at the end of the season, just a few weeks from now, mid-November. Looking at tonight's trivia question, prior to 2025, when was the last regular season in which Lakeview had at least 5 wins before beginning district? Is the answer 1995, 2004, 1993, or 2008? Once again, remember to visit our site, submit your answer. Now time to review our Week 9 headlines in case you're just now joining us. Central's 3rd district game versus Midland High gets postponed until tomorrow at 2. Kickoff scheduled for 2. Gates open at 1, though. Lakeview dethrones Pecos on the road to open district on a high note as the Chiefs secure their first official winning season in over 2 decades. Grape Creek and Wall still going head-to-head in the first half, 14-0 at last check, Wall in front. Ozona once again overpowers another opponent, needing only the first half and change, as said earlier, to crush Colorado City by 40. 58-18 the final there. Robert Lee versus Water Valley. This top 5 matchup appears to be one-sided in the first half as the number 2 Wildcats hold a 22-point halftime lead at last look. And to close the show, a handful of Week 9 games have yet to conclude or even start, but it's not too early to look ahead to Week 10. Starting with Central, the Bobcats head to Odessa for their final road game of the regular season. Same for Lakeview as the Chiefs visit Big Spring. Grape Creek plays its regular season finale at home, hosting Merkel. Villarreal and Ozona head to Forsan, and finally, Junction heads over to La Pryor. That's all tonight for Inside the Game, but be sure to tune in next week for Week 10 as the district races continue to heat up. Until then, have a good night, Concho Valley.
Catering for Friday night football staff is provided by Chick-fil-A. Inside the Game is sponsored by Mitchell Automotive Group.